I talk a lot about the political systems, and I'm trying to get away from that because I've been talking about that for 48 years. But when you get into theology and religion, that is where the real story is. That's where the real stuff is. Because our words and terms that we use today in everyday life come directly out of the church. I mean, you've got to remember that Rome has dominated Europe for at least 2,700 years with the coming of the Caesars of Rome and the ancient Roman Empire. And then in the 5th century, when it began to crumble, and in its place, the Vatican came up. The people who were financing the Roman Empire began to pull the money out of Rome because they saw it was going under, and began a new operation called the Vatican. And and so that whole Roman system is still with us today, all over the world. Rome still controls Europe, and Europe still dominates the world, the planet. I want to know who's running this planet, what God really is, where did we come from as humans, how does government and banks and courts, and how does the world really in fact work? That's what I've spent my life pursuing.
Jordan, Chris wanted me to ask you a question. He wanted me to ask you about the Rh negative blood, and if you've heard anything about it, and if we can get your take on that.
Well, you know what? There's a bigger story, I think, and the bigger story is the mutation of the human race. I've been watching this coming for a long time. I know that at the end of the day, after everything is heard and everything is said, that there is something going on in the world of cyberspace computers in relation to mutating the human race. It's so subtle and so large in scope that that's why it works, and nobody seems to see it coming. But I understood this a long time ago when I first read a book many, many years ago called The Corporate Man, in which they talk about the mutation of the human being, the mind of human beings, the way our brains operate and the way our minds operate, and they are computerizing us. And slowly but surely they're developing something called a computer. And the computers are becoming more highly advanced by the day. But there is also this whole subject of the mutation of the human race to connect the human mind to a computer. In fact, and I've been reading about human cells being connected to software in a computer, so that the brain is actually, the human brain is now part of the computer. And somewhere along the line, the computer is going to become part of the human brain. And so there's that kind of technology going on behind the scenes, which incidentally was pioneered by the Nazis. Computers were pioneered by the Nazis. All kinds of high technology and science was pioneered under Adolf Hitler. Most people don't know that. And so I've got a tremendous amount of stuff on where television was being developed, the German doctors who were working on it, how they were being financed by international banking cartels to use television as a propaganda tool to begin to sway the whole earth, to begin to remake man.
We recently had Chris Everard on the show, and in his movie Spirit World, I believe, he says that the television was first created as a way to speak to spirits, basically. Does that have any?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, okay.
Because that makes sense. I mean, if you go back and think what it must have been like when they first come up with the idea, it probably had something to do with Tesla, but because Tesla said he was talking to extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be a bit surprised because so much of the knowledge and technology which we take for granted today, my God, where did that stuff come from? Where did the concepts even come from?
Well, are we seeing the continuation of the Third Reich, or are we seeing the Fourth Reich?
Well, we're seeing the Fourth Reich because the Third Reich was never defeated. It just lost a particular battle, but was never defeated.
Okay.
The Fourth Reich, or the Third Reich, is still in its place. We just refer to it as the Fourth Reich, they're coming back again. It's like big companies in L.A. I see them all the time. They're going out of business. We got a special going out of business sale. They're leaving town forever. And then once they close the doors, 2 weeks later they open up on the other side of town, brand new, same guys, same people, same employees, different name, and we're back in business again. Well, that's what happened when Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler did not die. That's a bunch of bull. Adolf Hitler never died. He didn't commit suicide. That's stupid.
Recently, they said that the body was a woman's body.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. I know enough about dictators and powerful people. They don't die. They're not going anywhere. The only way they're going to leave is you kill them, or they die of natural causes or something. But normally, powerful people do not put a gun to their head. That's all in movies. Mm-hmm. They don't do that. It's a club, a fraternal order, and if you're playing on the chessboard of world power, and if you get overthrown, they just give you a lot of money and send you off to an island in the Caribbean to live comfortably with your harem, and that's the way the world works.
Well, we were just talking about this the other day. Wouldn't it be cheaper to just put a bullet in his head, though?
Well, yeah, but the thing is that that's not the way the system works, even among the mafia. Even among the gangs in Los Angeles, there are certain rules and regulations.
Ah, okay.
In the military, certain rules and regulations you cannot do. I don't care if you got the gun, if you are in charge, it doesn't matter. Certain regulations and rules apply, and that means you can't do this. And you, in the mafia, you cannot kill a made man unless it is voted upon, and if you do, then you're a dead man for doing it. So
right.
So there are certain rules and regulations among the world power elites. They have their own operation going. They have their own words and their own terms, catchphrases. They all, at the top of the world, all the way around the earth, all the governments, the heads, and the powerful people in the world, they know how the world game is played. How many people go to church and don't even know where the word church comes from? And how many people talk about Jesus Christ and have no idea in the world what the word Christ means?
Yeah.
Talk about worshiping God and have no idea. It goes back, you can trace the word back in any good dictionary to Zeus.